Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody in the entire universe, we have a super special MTGFocus podcast. Not only is it the original team of Brandon and myself, we have Eric Cius.
What?
Yeah,
I'm here.
You are here.
I'm second generation.
You're you were like, this was like the PlayStation 3, and now you're like the PlayStation 4. Oh. So you upgraded. You brought it.
That's how we do it.
And now when we talk about taking it to the next level,
the nextest
level, we even brought Miss Hallie from the girlfriend bracket to. I'm just shocked that you would dare spend time with gentlemen like us, because degenerates. Okay, I mean, it's good to know that we have a nice partnership, that we get to talk, we get to have fun, and for everybody at home, Hallie and I met in Seattle when I was being a degenerate with the PPTQ stuff.
Yep.
I took a flight to Seattle to play in a PPTQ, which is probably not the best plan. I did that, and I think I played against you in round 3 or 4 or something like that, and I had no idea who she was, but as soon as she started shuffling her cards, I knew something was up. The gig was up. I was like, oh wait, nope, you're not catching me off guard today.
It's not quite Kibler shuffling, but I do shuffle my cards very thoroughly.
No.
Is it the water bottle?
No, it was just how she had a cards and she shuffled her deck, which was I was like, okay, and then when she started shuffling in her hand, it was it looked like a professional. It was way better hand shuffle than I've ever done in my entire life. And then she proceeded to play turn 2 Mastery of the Unseen, and I was like, okay, we're going to be ice skating uphill today. So,
so what's the reason that we're all here? Did we all just come to your house and have these sweet banners?
Well, I mean, it is possible that I had these banners because, again, being a degenerate Magic player over the last 20 to some odd years, you pick up some things. But no, we are here live and on location at Grand Prix Albuquerque. So I didn't think we would get another Grand Prix, but this Grand Prix sold out. 1,250 players, and they had a separate flight this morning for the people who couldn't get in. I think that had 100 players. So it's really a good sign for our area to be able to have a Grand Prix that has this many players that would come to Albuquerque. Because, again, last time there was did you come last time, Hallie?
No.
Okay, and you were here.
I was here.
Eric,
through the snowstorm.
I didn't get to play in it.
Oh, you didn't miss out on the snowstorm.
I was even living here at the time. I didn't get to play in it.
Wait, for work or?
No, Emilio had surgery.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because you had gotten sick. Well, in case everyone's wondering, there is somebody on the other side of the camera. That would be Eric Cius' wife.
Yeah, I love you,
and
baby.
yeah, we all love you. We all love you, baby. We love you, boo boo. We love you, babies.
Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, and yeah. So last time, Eric, I mean, Brandon, tell everybody about the last GP that was here. Just the weather.
Well, it was a blizzard trying to get in here on day 2. So we had about 850 players to start out with, and yeah, just coming in the next day. I mean, I live about 20-25 minutes away from the convention center here downtown, and it took me almost an hour to get into the convention center that day.
Yeah,
so it was pretty treacherous.
Yeah, and I mean, granted, normally it was in November, right?
It was the weekend after Thanksgiving.
And normally in Albuquerque, November is really not that cold. It's not like it was, but it was literally the worst snow ice day that we ever had. So I think that whole year. So, and that's just what we call bad beat, right?
That's a bad beat.
That's a bad beat. So again, it's beautiful to have everybody here. Some of us got to play Magic today. I mean, the non-banned people got to play Magic today. So let's go down the line. Eric, tell us about your day 1.
Day 1 was sweet. I only had 1 bye based off of Planeswalker points. Could not win a GPT to save my life.
Nope.
I only played in 2 of them and then 1 last chance trial. Still couldn't win. And I had only done this format off of a couple of pre-releases and then just reading articles, listening to Marshall on limited resources.
And listening to yourself on your own podcast.
Yeah.
just to check back.
We did spend almost 8 hours reviewing all the cards. So I felt pretty good about it. My pool was just okay. But it was very aggressive. It was very good. I played red-white, had a couple of angels, both of the red angels. And I conferred with Hallie over here earlier in the day, and she agreed that I built the right deck. I only missed out on 1 card, which was the Dance with the Devils. Turns out that card's really good.
Is it? Is it pretty good?
It's really good.
Yeah, I've been trying to tell you that. The card's busted.
So off of one buy, I had to like cross my fingers and hope that I had enough experience playing limited and try and get there. And I did. I ended up the day 7-2.
That's a good record, I would say. You actually got the old school day 2.
The old school day 2, yeah.
That means you can actually possibly top 8 tomorrow if you do some really good work.
Cash. I mean, I want to top 8, but
Don't talk about cashing. I want to
Hey,
hear.
I hate you talk about minimums all the time.
Yeah.
I just want a day 2. I just want to do this. No,
I didn't say I
you
just
need
want
to
a day
win.
No, we're
Tomorrow
talking about in
is
the past.
6-0.
all right.
No, you did it today too.
But
You
you're
did it
there
today.
too. So
I did not. I said I'm going to win all my matches from here out. It didn't necessarily happen. But
That didn't
I said,
happen,
no, I'm going
but-
to win. You know, my whole mentality is,
The
I just
focus.
want a day 2. Nope, I want to be 9-0. It's like when I get one loss, no, I want to be 8-1. You know, just kind of thing like that.
Okay, well, and Hallie, what I have you do is move up a little bit so that we can make sure that we hear you. So tell us about your day 1.
My day 1 was less than stellar. I wasn't really thrilled with my pool. I have never actually played blue in this format, and
That's probably a good reason.
I haven't really been thrilled with a lot of the blue commons, and so I haven't drafted it yet. I haven't really looked at it in a lot of my sealed pools. I've just been playing green, white, black, white, just these really strong delirium decks and human-centric decks. And I had this pool that was kind of weird. It had a lot of decent blue uncommons, but no color was really deep. So I kind of did the best I could. I played some, like I said, blue uncommons. I played Uninvited Geist, which is a pretty sweet creature. I had a lot of flyers and some evasive creatures, and I had Ongoing Investigation, which is the enchantment that lets you investigate every time you deal damage with a creature.
And you can gain. Is that the one you can gain 3 life if you get rid of a
so
creature in your graveyard?
if you pay 1 and a green and you exile a creature card from your graveyard, you then gain 2 life and investigate. So it was a pretty cool card. I also had one of the Red Angels in my pool as well.
That card?
It ate a lot of removal.
Of course.
It was an okay pool. I went 3 and 4, which I wasn't really thrilled with, but I mean, I think I did the best I could with what I had. Like I said, no color was really deep, so it was a tough pool, but I definitely learned a lot from the experience.
Okay, and then you still can make your way to Seattle by winning the Sunday Super Series tomorrow.
Right.
I mean,
get a ticket to the place where I live. So.
oh yeah, that's it's not quite as cool.
cash voucher you
So
get.
what you'll
get a voucher and just submit that you live in New York or
no,
something. like
what
that.
you do is you take a trip somewhere right before that, a one-way, and then get another one-way back. I don't know.
Yeah.
We got to find some way to game the
Make it
system
work.
if you win, right? Okay, Brandon, how about you?
I started the day with 2 buys. I actually started the day at 7 a.m. at work. So I'm a tax accountant, and the deadline is Monday. So for all you people who have not filed your taxes by Monday, or get your extension.
The
So
tax man is
the
coming
tax
to
man
you.
will come for you.
Wait, me too?
For you too.
I gotta file them too?
You got to file yours too. Everyone. Nobody.
I'm telling on you
the
right now.
The government
What about
does
Hallie?
not.
What about me? My dad's an accountant. He does my taxes.
There
for
you
me.
go. See, that's the perfect situation right there.
My best friend,
Yeah.
he's an accountant.
He helped me out.
Yeah.
Take back my best friend.
So yeah. So I worked 3 hours this morning. I had 2 buys, so I got to come in here at 10 and build my deck. I ended up going 7-2. I had a pretty strong deck. I had 2 of the Werewolf Anthem cards and about 10 werewolf cards. 5 of them were flip cards and some other wolves and that kind of stuff. And then, I had the Gitrog monster on backup just in case we needed to do some things.
Just in case.
Just in case. He came out and handled business when he needed
Hey,
to.
little homie.
Hey, get in here. Get in here. We need you right now. Right now.
Tag team.
So he came in
your
there.
backup?
He was the
backup
backup.
plan. He was the backup. He was my backup dancer. My main wolves were my Beyonce, and the Gitrog monster was my Destiny's Child. So
Yeah.
that's how we did.
Have you been just saving that one for a while? You're just like, how am I going to fit in Beyonce?
How do I fit in all of those
Roberto
people?
always talks about Drake on every podcast, so I'm going to talk about Beyonce. We did it.
Got him. So yeah, no, so I had a pretty strong showing. The rounds that I lost, I got ran over by Tireless Tracker one round.
Card's a good one.
The guy drew literally 5-6 cards off of it, and I was just like, oh, I'm just dead. And then my last match of the day was literally won by the die roll. Whoever had priority game 3 would have won the game, and he had 1 pump spell in the end to deal the last couple points of damage, or else I would have killed him on the crackback. But it's good. 7-2, I'll take it. Like I said, I played in 1 pre-release, and that's it. We did our series on the cards and that, and I have not looked at this format any much other than that.
Well, hey, I'm happy to know that 2 of the 3 of you guys made it to day 2, and then, you just have to win the Sunday Super Series. No big deal. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's and then you could actually end up winning more money than maybe either of these two guys,
Oh,
depending
yeah.
on how it goes.
That's
I mean,
very true.
I'm talking about being optimistic, okay? Like,
right.
I'm in it for the glory.
You're in it for the glory.
Because the money's not that good.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm hoping that everybody does really well tomorrow. For me, I'm undefeated today. I came to the tournament. I did not register a pool, mainly because Wizards was not allowing me to play Magic today. But there was no coverage today. So there was no video coverage, there was text coverage, but it was kind of like, this is our GP. I wanted to make sure that we could have some sort of video going on today. So what'll happen is tonight, which is Saturday, we're going to get all the video of the deck text done. We got, I think, 3 or 4 done from the undefeated players. And I was really pretty happy with being able to do at least that. Obviously, we're doing the podcast, and we're doing the podcast video live. So there's just a lot of things that, I mean, if we're going to have a GP in our backyard, or for some people this is their front yard, we want to make sure that we can at least have the experience on video, and we can talk about it later and all the fun that we did or didn't have. But there has been some news that's gone on this week. Like I work for Wizards of the Coast, or like we all work for Wizards of the Coast. But so our fam, Wizards, they did hire a new CEO. I believe his name is Chris Cox.
Yep.
He has experience with Microsoft and some different things like that. Hallie, what do you think he brings to the table, just as somebody who's coming from another digital space?
I did a bit of research on him because we were going to talk about him on the Girlfriend Bracket as well, and he, it seems like he has a lot of experience both in marketing and in tech, and those are 2 areas where it seems like Wizards is looking to focus right now.
Right.
They've been doing a ton of marketing with their sets, like leading up to it, like what we saw at GP Detroit, all these sort of multimedia things going into, spoiler season. I think he could bring a lot to that, as well as, a lot of people are saying, because he has a tech background, he could bring some needed improvements to Magic Online.
Please help.
Yeah.
We need help.
We really do.
We can't. We're degenerate. We can't help ourselves, but we need help.
Yeah, it's actually unbelievable that we haven't had that happen yet. So what else did you know?
I mean, that's all I really found out about him. There was like a press release that was released about him with a bit of his background, but he seems like a really well-rounded guy. Like, he has a lot of experience in the tech scene, and like he can bring a lot to the table.
So, and then Eric, do you know anything about it? Have you read anything?
I know about as much as Hallie knows. I also read the same press release, but I am optimistic. However, I would really like to see, because of his background in digital media and everything that he did with Microsoft, I'm hoping that Magic Online gets the big boost and the love that it needs. And you kind of see that with some of the stuff that's going on. Like, if you're paying attention to the Wizards job site, their career site, you see that they have a bunch of positions open for like multimedia director, another director of operations that would report to Helen. Is it not Rena?
I'm just wondering. I was just looking at your mic. He's so nervous. He's like, so.
I don't see the line moving.
He's like, oh my God, are they recording? Am I missing out on something? No,
Yeah.
I was just looking at you, boy.
Right. I hope it's reading it.
Well, yeah. Is your mic on? Did you forget to turn it on?
No, it's on.
Yep, there you go. You're good.
Okay.
I know. I'm just messing with you.
Okay. Oh man.
So gullible.
I just came off of 9 rounds at a GP.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a bunch of like new positions open at Wizards that make you like think that they're gonna move more towards helping out Magic Online or even esports as a whole. And I'm looking forward to the future. I think this might be exactly what we need.
Yeah, and I think obviously having a background in tech goes a long way, but we also have to remember that Magic Online is really not good, right? I mean, like, there's a lot of problems with Magic Online in general. So it comes to the point now of, will he have I don't want to say the spine, but to actually and possibly scrap the whole thing and start with something. Start fresh. Because the issue that we have is we love Magic, right? That's not the problem. We love Magic, even though Magic Online consistently does things that make us upset. But I'm just not sure that the current framework that Magic Online is built on is going to be able to move Magic into the digital age to compete with other games. Because you never hear about a Hearthstone tournament crashing. you don't hear about like League of Legends like on TV, like on coverage, just like, oh, guess what? The whole tournament's scrapped. That just is not a thing. Whereas on Magic Online, you consistently have issues where a PTQ will just crash. You will have multiple errors with cards. And I don't know much about on like the League of Legends side and the Hearthstone side, but I haven't seen any huge bugs in the game. I haven't played a game of League of Legends where I cast a spell and it just didn't work. I mean, and that's a problem with Magic Online. You can file for reimbursement, but how can you really say, like, if it was a big tournament, let's say it was the Mox or something like that, where lots of stuff is on the line, and that happens. I mean, how do you fix that problem on site? I don't know if you can do that.
Yeah, I mean, Wizards has been getting this feedback for quite a long time. A
decade?
Yeah. So something's gonna happen. Something's gonna give, and I think this is like one step in the absolute right direction towards it.
Well, and you would hope so.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Because it seems to me that the Duels of the Planeswalkers has gotten better, where Magic Online has kind of stayed the same. So, and I think that just says that Wizards is obviously very interested in getting new people on board, because the old people won't leave. I mean, how bad does Magic Online have to be for us not to play it? I don't know what that answer is. I mean, it could really be trash, and more than it ever has been, and I think we still would play. We'd find whatever parts maybe do work and continue to play that. But they did bring leagues. I love leagues. It really just feeds the addiction even more, because now I can, for people who have jobs, I'm sure a lot of people at home can't just sit around for 7 hours or 8 hours and play like that. But when you have a regular job, it's nice to be able to play a couple rounds while you can, come back, and just continue to do that and actually turn a profit for the most part. I always found that for me, that's why I didn't really invest in Constructed. It was like, well, how am I supposed to sit for all of that time? And if I'm going to invest $200-300 in a deck or more, I want to be able to turn it into a profit. So League does do that. So I have to give them props on that side. Brandon, what do you think the biggest thing for you to get you to play more Magic Online?
Having more time.
Well, Wizards can't help you with getting more time. So
ask Helene, maybe she got it.
She got it.
Hey, Helene, let me borrow some of that time
somewhere.
They're gonna send you a bunch of time seekers.
The League thing was actually really big for me. I would never be able to play in a sealed tournament at any given time. So I would do drafts and that kind of stuff, and I would just accumulate cards and that. But now with this Leagues thing, I was able to go in and play 2-3 rounds a night. Eric and I would get together and do that, and it really helped up the game. And and it paid off for Eric when he was at his PPTQ. In sealed, we played sealed for 2 weeks on Leagues, and we were able to learn a lot. And we're going to hope to translate the same thing into the RPTQ for Shadows over Innistrad sealed and see what we can do. And being able to play a League over 2 days has really been the most helpful thing for me.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to the PPTQs, that's for me is the real reason that I want to be able to have Magic Online and the regional PTQs, because sometimes you just can't get together and test at weird hours of the night and things like that. And Hallie, in your case, I know you're saying like Seattle is like ground zero for like all of these good players, and it's super hard to win PPTQs. I mean, I didn't know that when I flew out there. Like, I got there and it was a sealed event, and it was like at a little store. I figured it would be like 20 people or something like that. It was like 60 or 70 players were there for the sealed, and it wasn't like filled with a bunch of bad players either. So I can understand your frustration too. It's like and they were all running at the same, like there was like 4 that day or something like that, and it's like, you got to hopefully organize that a little bit better so that you have more shots at it too.
Yeah, I'm really jealous of my friends in other cities who tell me that they regularly play in 5-round PPTQs, because all of ours are 6 or 7.
Right. Yeah, ours we've played. Eric, what was the last one you played in?
So the last one I played in was the one that I won. It was a 5-rounder.
5 rounds.
Yep, 5-rounder top 8.
No biggie.
Yep.
But I think it's also nice to be able to play the PPTQs online too, and I think it's 4-1.
So their system is different. So you have to play in a preliminary, and then you get a token to go to the finals. So the preliminary, you go X1 or better.
X1.
I think it's X1, right? Yeah,
X1 or better, and then you got to top 8 or top 4 to the final.
That's not terrible. Okay.
But those finals have 200 some odd players in them.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a long one.
They fill capacity every time.
Wow.
They're a lot
So-
like the old school PTQs.
Gotcha. Okay. See, I haven't played in that. I do get to play Magic Online, so I've been just trying to collect, Mox points and things like that.
Yeah.
Because now you can just like hold on to them almost indefinitely, and then just get to play in one. So that goes a long way too. So I mean, again, I don't think organized play for Magic Online is bad. I just think that some of the actual software is the issue, because I think Wizards are trying to make a best of a bad situation, and they could be hamstrung by a bunch of different things that maybe we don't know. So I give them the benefit of the doubt. It just upsets me sometimes, right?
And people ask me all the time what I think about Magic Online, and even though like you said, the software is bad and it bugs out and glitches, I still think it's great, because us as teammates, Brandon, the fact that we live 400 miles apart and we can still test every single night together, can't beat that. Can't beat it.
Yeah, and you can hug each other and all these other
Virtually,
things.
through Skype.
Virtual hugs through Skype. Okay, so that's with the CEO conversation. But then they changed the judge levels. I mean, and that not in a little way. They actually just completely disintegrated how the old judge level program worked previously into something new. Brandon, I don't know if you know anything about how that works.
I know they went to 3 levels now, where your regular store people who run yours are level 1s. Your level 2s are the people that run your RPTQs and the higher level events. And then what was the level 4, 5 level is now the level 3, where they're the regional coordinators and the people kind of
GP
running the
judges.
thing. Yeah, everything from the top down. They're basically the management of the judge situation. So that's what I got out of it.
And I guess level 1s now are only for non-competitive.
Sounds like it.
That's what the
Rels?
focus should be, but they could still judge GPTs. They didn't take that away from them.
Oh, I thought they did. I thought
No, because I'm a level 1. I had to find out. When that happened, I tweeted at Ricky Hayashi, and I was like, yo, can I still judge a GPT if I wanted to? And he was like, no, yeah, you can, but other things are changing. So other things that are changing are part of keeping your certification. Instead of having to judge in one event once a year, you now have to judge one every 6 months. And you also have to retest, take an exam every year to keep that certification.
Gotcha. Well, and that's good. I mean, it's kind of I never understood why people didn't have to. It's like with driver's licenses. How does you have a driver's license that it's good for 20 years? You should probably have to go and reaffirm that you know what you're talking about.
Right.
And for me, in the insurance business, we have to do continuing education every year, 15 credit hours, just so that, because judging is important. It's important to know that the people that are doing these events know what they're talking about. But I'm just when we look at the judge program, I'm not a judge, so I don't know what the motives were. I don't know if you guys have read on Reddit or anything like that, if they've kind of talked more about why that change was happening. But do you know anything about it?
From talking to a couple judges, it sounds like a lot of the judge levels 3 and above were kind of ill-defined, and a lot of those responsibilities just weren't clear. I know when I spoke to Katie, my co-host on the Girlfriend Bracket, she said she often had a difficult time explaining to people who weren't judges sort of what those levels were, what those judges' responsibilities were, and it seems like they're just trying to make that clearer and more concise. And it also sounds like they just need more judges who are qualified to head judge GPs, now that GPs are so huge.
Right.
Today at Albuquerque, we had 2 head judges. So it sounds like having more qualified people is a step in the right direction.
Right, and you can never have too many judges.
Absolutely.
Too many qualified judges, because if the judges don't feel like they're being compensated right, if they don't feel like they've been taken care of, they're not going to continue judging, because it's pretty selfless, right? I mean, they don't make a lot of money judging. Nobody's getting rich judging. They're here to help us to be able to play our game, and until the day where we sit down with laptops and just play Magic Online against each other, now that would be a sweet day. I'm not gonna lie. If you just sat down at table 1, a screen came up, and you're just ready to go.
But your rollaway keyboard.
Yeah.
Just instead of playmat,
Right.
it's those rollaway keyboards.
Yep, and be good. One day we won't play with cards, but that day is not today. So we'll still need judges for a while. I'm just excited to know that it looked like judges had taken it in a good way, and after the debacle with all the judges getting suspended for a little while, any kind of positive reinforcement for the judges and things that help their lives and make it easier will help in the long run, because there's still that undercurrent of like animosity that's still there, you know, that they're still trying to build the trust back with judges, and I'm hoping that these kind of things will take it in the right direction. So it's a new day, right? It's just with Magic, it's always something new, right? But I want to talk about the GP itself. You guys got to play again. I didn't get to play. Brandon, tell us about a card that you overrated coming into the tournament and that you do now think differently of.
A card that I overrated.
How could he ever find something he
why
thought?
Would I have ever overrated anything?
How could, he never overrated a thing in his life.
I know. Everything that I played with today, I think was pretty close to where it was supposed to be. I had cards that I underrated and that were actually better than I thought they were.
Okay, what is one of those?
The 1/2 wolf guy that can pump, I underrated him some. I think he's pretty good. Yeah, he's good.
He trades up a lot.
He trades up a lot, or he just deals a lot of damage and just gets in there. So I like that a lot. Apparently the cards that make devils are better than that.
Oh baby!
I underrated.
Apparently. That I didn't play it in my.
And he did say that in our deck tech earlier today. He was like, "Well," I was like, "Why didn't you play with this the Devil's card?" He goes, "Well, my co-host Brandon was like that was the exact words before he said anything. He was like, "Let me find that bus and put Brandon under it first."
If you go to the red section of the podcast we did for the preview, he kept trying to sell me on how the devil cards were not good. I was like.
Yeah, and you kept trying to sell me that there was a wild mongrel in this set.
Ooh, that is true.
Just telling you, hey,
you both were wrong. You both were wrong.
Yeah.
We each got one. We're even.
All right.
Even Steven.
No, we're not.
Hallie, what about you? Is there a card that you overrated and brought it back to earth, or a card that you underrated and it's now you feel it's a little bit more valuable?
I wouldn't say I overrated this card, but I did play the 5/5 flyer for 7. I forget what it's called. It's an Ophalia something or other. But it's a 5/5 for 7 with flying. When it enters the battlefield, another creature you control gains flying, and if you pay 6 and exile it from your graveyard, all your creatures gain flying. I didn't think the card was amazing, but I played it in my deck because I needed a finisher. And it definitely wasn't the finisher I wanted.
Right.
It was expensive. Giving something flying was sometimes relevant. A lot of the time it wasn't. So I also never got to activate its ability, unfortunately.
Oh, well then, yeah, that's how you win, right?
Right,
It's like,
right.
Make my entire team unblockable, so.
Yeah, I never really, maybe it was just that I faced a lot of flyers, like it just wasn't relevant in a lot of my games, but I wasn't thrilled with it.
Yeah, it's funny that again, I didn't really do too much studying about the cards in the set. And when you started to talk about that card, I was like, okay, 7 mana, huge flyer. It gives something flying when it comes in. And then I thought, like, maybe when you exiled it from the graveyard, it made like 4 flyers or something like that. Like,
No.
You know, and you're like, no, it just gives all my guys flying. I was like, oh, that's not quite that exciting anymore. Well, what about a card that you underrated?
A card that I underrated? Oh man, I have to think about that. I don't know. Actually, there was a card that I accidentally misplayed because I couldn't remember. I had never played with it before and I didn't know what it did. It was called like, it's the 1 and a blue for an instant that returns a target non-land permanent to its own
Just the
hand. It's not just the wind. No. It's the other one. It's like compelling disappearance or something like that. And I misread it and I thought it returned a target creature.
Not permanent?
Not permanent. So I definitely could have gotten a bigger blowout by like returning an equipment on a creature, and I misread it and thought it was creature instead of non-land permanent. But I learned, you know, it's only the second week of the format.
Right, we'll give you a pass.
Still learning all the uncommons and what they do. But that card did a lot of work for me. Being able to return enchantments was actually very good. Being able to return artifacts is great. So I really like that card a lot.
Did you return any clues?
I didn't get a chance to. My opponents always had 2 mana open.
Oh, I was gonna. That'd be so sweet.
The opportunity was never there, but that would have been sweet.
Yeah, I have no idea why you would ever want to return a clue, but you know, I was just wondering. It was
get that
just
clue
I get that clue
just,
out of
just
here.
for the rubbins.
Just for the I'm just gonna bounce that. Why?
Yeah.
Just shh. I'm just gonna do it. We're just gonna go about our days. Eric, what about you? What card do you think that you underrated, and what card did you overrate?
Okay, so
We know what card you overrated.
Well, I didn't even have that card in my pool.
Oh, okay.
So for my pool,
Which card?
the stupid vampire that I said was like a wild mongrel.
There was the vampire that you
can just
It's
pitch
a
cards
1/3
and pump it.
pitch it and give it +2, -2.
They're never gonna let
yeah.
me live it down. Okay, I was
Yeah.
wrong. Audience, I was wrong.
If it was
I'm
+2,
sorry.
so when I heard, I'm gonna tell you the story. So I heard that there was a wild mongrel in the set, okay? And I said, "There's a wild mongrel in the set." So I went and tried to find what could possibly be this wild mongrel that I heard. So I said, "Okay, 2 mana, it's got to be a 2/2 or a 1/3 or something like that." And then I read it and I thought it said +2/+2,
Yeah.
and I said, "Okay, that's a decent card." Then I actually read it and realized it was nowhere close to wild mongrel. So that was my rubbins. Go about the rest of your day.
Right. Are we done? Like this is like the 3rd week already. We get this.
Never gonna live this down.
No.
All right. So the card I overrated for my deck in particular. Not to say that it's not completely bad, but it's the mana rock that's in this format.
Oh, the one that graveyard
The corrupted
The
Graphstone.
magnifying glass?
or the magnifying
The
glass.
magnifying glass. That's
Yeah.
all.
Okay.
You guys all said different cards.
Well, there's a few mana rocks. That's what I'm saying.
No,
Yeah.
it's the magnifying glass. The one that lets you investigate. So that one I overrated, but that's because my deck was like very aggressive, and so every single game too, I just took that card out to put in Dance with the Devils, and crushed it. And
Yeah.
every time I saw the Devils, I was so happy. Hallie, thank
You're
you
like,
so much.
thank you. I'm glad this is not a magnifying
and
glass.
Remley, no thanks to you.
That's cool. Whatever.
Yeah, no thanks to you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. It's this again. It's early in the format, so this is one of those things where I wanted the people at home to just kind of know what you guys learned today. You played a lot of rounds of Magic today, saw a lot of cards, a lot of different situations, and tomorrow's draft is going to be probably something new for most of you, right? I don't know how much you've done in the draft. So what I was going to do is just go from Eric over. Just talk about what if you were drafting tomorrow, which 2 of you are. I don't want to rub in for you too much
I
because you
may
don't.
do a draft tomorrow.
Okay, well, I mean, since you're with MTGFocus right now, I'm going to treat you just like I would treat everybody else. So like,
You don't want to doing that. Don't treat her like you treat us.
Yes, she might never come
Heck,
back.
no.
Some of us
She'll
will
walk out in the
some
middle
of
of
us
the
will be
interview.
drafting in day 2 tomorrow, but we're all going to pretend right now like we were drafting in day 2 tomorrow. Okay, Eric, what are you looking for tomorrow?
I'm looking for synergies.
Okay.
Like-
I mean, what are you looking for specifically?
Like you want like specific
What
cards?
well, when do you look in to go into a draft and you don't look for synergies?
No, I mean like because I think this set is highly synergistic, and you can go very tribal too. So zombies, vampires, wolves. You can do all that.
Okay, well, what are you looking for specifically?
What am I looking
Are you looking
for?
for a specific tribe?
I like vampires. I think they're pretty sweet. I really like black in this set. I think it's one of the strongest colors, and I think red is also one of the strongest colors. I think they're tied for the strongest. So if I could just go black red, I'd be happy.
Okay, so you're looking for a black, red,
Like whatever.
Vampires.
I just want like all the rare vampires.
all the rare. Okay.
Or the angels. Like if we're talking about dream cards that I want, I'll take Soren because he's a beast.
You'll
I'll
take
Nahiri.
Soren.
I'll take it.
I'll
Yes.
take Soren.
I
and
mean, if
Nahiri.
I had to.
Yeah. I mean, I want those, but like the removal spells are really good. I really like Deadweight a lot. I like Throttle a lot.
Fire
I even-
Temper.
Yeah, Fire Temper is awesome, but those are like premium cards that you're maybe gonna get one of.
What's Kibler Murder? I don't remember the actual name of that card.
Murderous Compulsion?
Something like that.
The Kibler Murder?
Kibler Murder, yeah. Okay, so now in your case, what would you be looking for tomorrow?
I'm gonna definitely agree with him on the synergies. I mean, I like he said, like you look for synergies in every set, obviously, but I feel like every deck has to have a plan. You can't just sort of play good stuff.
Right.
Tribes are important. The Delirium deck, if you're gonna be in that deck, you need all the pieces for it. So
Well, how many enchantments would you run in the Delirium deck?
probably at least 2, probably 2 or 3. Enchantments, or there's some artifacts that you can run.
Yeah, like the Aeliopile reprint.
Yep. I also, in terms of tribes, I actually have had a lot of success with humans and werewolves.
The green-white deck.
Green-white humans, green-red werewolves. I've really enjoyed those decks. I also haven't had a chance to draft the blue-green clues deck, but I hear that deck is really fun.
Yeah, like if you can get the enchantment that mills them, like a couple copies of that, and then the 1/3 that mills them with you when you have Delirium.
I actually
every
played
turn.
that deck in Swiss today.
Really? How many
Yeah.
did he have of each, or he or
well,
she?
no, he had only one of the enchantment that mills. He had 2 vessels, I think.
That card's good.
The blue vessel, and then he also had the mythic that mills for 13.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's a legit deck right there.
Yeah.
I beat him though because he didn't have any creatures to block with.
Oh, well, his deck didn't. Oh, okay, that's not good. But yeah, I think in draft though, you can get those are most of those are uncommons, so it's like you can really put that deck together quickly. And as long as you have the butts on the ground to be able to like clog up the board for a little bit, and if you can finish it off with the mill 13 or something like that.
Yep.
I mean, you have to have one of the big things in the end, unless you have like 4 copies of an uncommon or because the clue thing is just I forgot the name of it, the one that mills when you when you sacrifice a clue.
Yeah, whenever you sacrifice.
Yeah, like when you have multiples of those, obviously your deck can do a lot of crazy things. Like that could just be the deck, like 3 of those, you can just put in any deck that makes clues, right? And do some damage. So Brandon, again, so we've heard synergies, so I don't want to hear any more about synergies, okay?
Where am I going to go last?
Yeah, what are you actually looking for? What did you just say?
Pizza.
The pizza.
Pizza.
All right,
I'm hungry.
Yeah, yes, Brandon is hungry, and when he's hungry, he gets angry, and when he gets
The rage
angry,
break
he just
comes
starts speaking in tongues, and it's mostly just like babbles of feed me and things like that. So, what are you looking for besides? Which synergies are you looking for?
I think the main thing we have to look for is to read the signs that are coming to you. You don't want to try to get yourself into a tribe or a certain color set that you start seeing being cut off. So I think you really got to do a better job of reading the things that are coming to you. And I mean, like Hallie was saying, you can't just jam all these good cards into your deck together because other people who have decks that work better together are going to run you over no matter how powerful some of your cards are. So I'd like to see something to open something early that'll push me in a direction, and then I'll be looking to cut stuff hard when it comes down to whatever I decide to draft.
Yeah, and I think again, I'm not going to be drafting tomorrow, but just from what I've seen card-wise, the Delirium deck, I don't think that there's many Delirium cards that other people are going to be picking super high if they're not building that deck.
Sinister Concoction is the main
right,
one I can think of.
But I think for the most part, you can build that deck. Obviously, you're going to have to get a little lucky to get some of the pieces of it, but you could just build a solid Delirium deck, period. So it doesn't have to be the combo version, the mill version, things like that. The green-white decks I saw and sealed, whether it was green-white humans or like werewolves or whatever, but a lot of the human decks were just crazy, like the ones that were mostly white. And then we're splashing for something else. They just get a couple of the good rares that are humans, and then really all hell breaks loose on that side. And the same thing for the red-black vampires. I saw a lot of these really streamlined madness decks, and you can really do a lot of work in the draft because I think people want to pick Fiery Temper, but it's kind of hard to pick that. So in your first, if you first pick a Fiery Temper, that's really rough, right? Because if you don't get Madness Enablers, you have to have a double red card in your pool, so now you're really having to play more red than you want to. So I think you can possibly get some second and third Fiery Tempers, and if you can get 3, I mean, obviously 3 Fiery Tempers is going to go a long way, but I think based on the double red, that you would see a lot more of it as a second and third pick than normally I think you would win from a lightning bolt. Same thing now, but the other thing is with the Kibler Murder, whatever card it is. I think that card you won't see a lot of, simply because it is only 1 black. Black is one of the best colors, so there's that. My question to everybody is, what is your feeling about enchantments? Now, my feeling, I hate playing enchantments with a passion. I can't stand getting 2 for 1. It just rubs me the wrong way. But I saw a lot of decks running the 1 mana enchantment that gives something flying, keeps coming back.
Oh, Griswold?
That card. Yeah, I saw. Well, I didn't realize that there was a second line of text to that where it comes back.
Yep.
But so the enchantments that come back, obviously, you can mitigate a lot of the 2 for 1s. But what about other enchantments? Like, what about like the Geist enchantment or things like that? Like
The
Eric.
Invocation?
Right. Yeah. What do you think about enchantments that don't come back? Just normal.
Okay, so I had in my seal pool today, I had the red one that has flash that gives +3/+1 per strike, and that card was really good.
Yep.
Really, really good. I got to put it on the 3/1 chaplain, the white guy with lifelink, and then so like I go in and they're like, "Oh, I'll just chump this 3/1 so I can kill it, throw it on there. I'm gaining 6, and now they have a 6/1 first striker with lifelink that they got to deal with. It was a bomb by himself, and so if he goes unchecked, like obviously I'm way ahead, and then I want him to deal with that because I want that guy in the graveyard anyway because I want the spirits back from
right.
that guy. So, if you're doing the right thing, thinking about what you're doing with the enchantments, I think cards like that or Ghost, what is it, Ghostly Wings or the blue one that gives +2/+2 and flying.
Okay.
And then you can discard a card to bounce it back to your hand, to bounce the creature back to your hand. I think that's another good one that I would play too. For as far as auras go, but enchantments as a whole, like the vessels and all that.
Well, that's I'm talking about just auras. So
okay,
actually,
so
sorry,
just
yeah,
auras,
just auras.
yeah. Then those I would definitely play.
And would you play the Geist aura?
I would, yeah. I think I would. I mean, it's not. If I'm in those colors already, or I can easily splash for it, sure. I think it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd look to be in the Skull deck if I was going to play that. I think it may be a little.
Oh my gosh, in the
more
Skull
one to go
deck?
way.
That would
The
be
Skull deck,
gross.
that's what I'm looking for. Yeah, I want the 1/3 guy, and I want to put that on it and go to town. I mean, that's what I look for.
I didn't even register that would be pretty gross.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like 4 in the air, 1 down below. Let's go.
Yep.
You know. What do you feel about enchantments?
Invocation of St. Traff was definitely a card I underrated. I didn't think that card was great because, you know, like you, I don't like getting 2 for 1.
Right.
I don't look to put auras in my deck, but I lost to Invocation of St. Traff twice today.
Twice?
Yeah, I had an opponent put it on the.
For a second, I thought he put 2 of them on one. I was
no,
like, oh!
no. So I had an opponent who put it on the 3/2 flyer, the new Delver.
Yeah.
The 3/2
Oh my
that
god,
turns
did it
into
flip?
a 5/4. It flipped.
Woo!
Yeah, it
Woo,
was.
daddy.
It was gross. Yeah, so I lost to that, and I also lost to another blue-white deck that was playing that card and Audric. So he put that on. He put that on the creature, and all his creatures got flying. It was pretty gross.
That's disgusting.
It was gross.
Yeah.
I've lost to some very synergistic decks with Invocation of St. Traff, so maybe I underrated it. But in general, I think a lot of the enchantments in this set give like really cool evasive abilities. I know there's one that gives trample, there's one that gives first strike. I think they're definitely better than auras traditionally are. So if you're looking for a 23rd card, I mean, I think you can pretty safely play one. My favorite aura, though, is Bound by Moonsilver, but that's kind of
that's
a class
alright
by
as well.
itself.
Really?
Pacifism's always been good.
Yeah, tell me more about why you think that card is good. I'm just kidding. Don't tell me more about that. Brandon, what about you? How do you feel about it?
I played the red flash first strike one today, and it was really good. It helped me a lot in my decks too because I was playing so many werewolves that I was able to pass a turn, let my guys flip, and then use it for advantage after that. It was pretty much a removal spell for me most every time, and then once somebody saw it, they were afraid that I had it every time. So, so it was really good for me. I mean, I guess that's the card I underrated. So,
Okay.
good.
Now, before we end the podcast and the video or whatever, I don't even know if we have video anymore. Maybe we don't. But did any of you play against Avacyn today?
Yes.
How did that go for you?
It was pretty bad.
Didn't win, right?
So this was the same game where my opponent had the flipped
the
Delver.
flipped Delver? Super Delver?
Yes, flipped Super Delver. I had to block it with my 4/4 Angel in order to stay alive,
Okay.
and then he flashed an Avacyn.
Oh.
And made it indestructible. It was gross.
Did you,
Nice.
Okay, so
Not nice.
when that happened, did you smile or did you frown?
I think I laughed.
That's what I mean, right? You know what I mean? Like,
I think I laughed nervously. No, so
Yeah.
that was game 1. In game 2, I had the satisfaction of countering his Avacyn,
Ooh,
which was nice.
yes.
But then I lost the 3rd game. But you know,
wow.
you win some, you lose some. Avacyn
It's gross.
Gross.
Yeah. Okay, so anybody play against Soren? Arlen?
No.
Okay, what other crazy cards?
That's not to say like my opponents had them, but by turn 5 they were really close to dying or dead already. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just wondering because it's one of those things where some of the people who were 9-0 today had to face a lot of that stuff, but then some of them had a lot of that stuff too. Like I saw a lot of the undefeated players had, and granted, it's sealed, right? So in sealed decks, most of the 9-0 decks have a lot of crazy rares. That's just kind of the name of the game. But the decks I saw today were just bonkers. I mean, it was like double Fireball, Avacyn, Nahiri, like, and you just go like, really? Like, is that a real thing? Like, Seth Manfield only had 11 creatures in his deck, because his removal was just so crazy. Like, I mean, double fiery temper, that kind of stuff. So I'm glad to know that we've got 2 people who are going to be in day 2. We've got 1 person who's going to win the Sunday Super Series tomorrow, so that's no big deal. It's already lock it up, lock it up. So if you're thinking about playing tomorrow, just save your money. Go on the Breaking Bad tour tomorrow. Do all that kind of stuff. But we are always happy to borrow any member of the girlfriend bracket. Thank you for coming on and spending time with us. And obviously, the invitation is open whenever you want to, and even when you don't want to. I mean, we'll just call you. Hey, you know what?
Hey.
Brandon's not feeling good. He. I don't know. Ate a whole.
He ate some bad chicken.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was gonna be ate something blah, but I didn't know exactly what to eat. It's always he ate something because that's how he always ends up getting sick.
What do you eat this time?
Yeah. Yes.
You're not supposed to eat the whole chicken.
Yes, and
leave the bones.
The chicken is supposed to be dead as well.
Yeah.
Like, don't chase after it. So. But this was. It's always a pleasure to hang out with everybody. We're always having a good time, even though I'm not playing. Still doing coverage.
And we're live.
And we're live, and we're having issues with being live. That's just the way it always goes, and that's part of the fun of it, is that nothing's going to be perfect. Nothing's perfect in Magic. Nothing's perfect in life. We just learn to kind of deal with that stuff. So, shout out again to the girlfriend bracket. You guys have an episode coming this week, I'm assuming. What day is it normally?
Every Friday.
Every Friday. So we have to wait a whole week for that. So make sure that you do tune in for that. And then MTGFocus, the normal podcast will be Thursdays normally, right? Yep.
Come out on Thursdays.
And next week, MTGFocus next. I believe we're going to have the guys from Duelist on to talk about their game. So we'll have all kinds of fun podcasts to listen to. And then also, if you hear this, you should also go to the site and check out some of the deck techs that we did, and also this video if you're just listening to the podcast. So any last words for everybody? Last words? Oh my God, you're all going to die. Any words before we go?
I just like the banners you have in your room here.
Yeah, my room is just, it is what it is. I try to keep Chandra,
She's creeping me out a little bit.
Chandra looks like my wife when I get home. She's like, she'll expect me like an hour ago, and then I'll get this fiery glare.
I can't,
so.
Yeah, sorry.
It's gonna happen.
Sorry about that, bruh.
I just want to say thanks to the listeners that came up to me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It was really cool to meet all of you. You all know who you are. It was really cool. Thanks.
Yeah, it always makes us feel good to know that there's people out there who do actually listen to the show. That
we're not just doing it for each other.
We're just not doing it for each other, which we would probably do anyway, but because we're degens when it comes to Magic. And big shout out to Nydia, which is Eric's wife, for making sure that we could try to get this off the ground and making sure that this video will be halfway decent. And then also Carrie, who's been doing just so much when it comes to video editing and all that. So again, make sure you tune in next week. We may or may not have video next week, whatever. We'll see how it goes.
Just play it by ear, whatever.
It's
whatever.
Right, we don't even plan the podcast or whatever before we get here. We just, hey, what's that girl's name? Hallie? What is her name? And
just drag her. Throw her over here. You're sitting here.
You sit down and you start talking.
This is how it worked. We trapped her. We put one fat man on one side, one fat man on the other, and over.
Yep, you're gonna do this show.
She don't want to move.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's more so you can't move. So, but anyway,
semantics.
Thanks for checking out the podcast. Thanks for checking out the video if you're watching the video, and we will see you guys all next week.
Night.
Please subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, like us on Facebook at facebook.com/MTGFocus, and follow us on Twitter at MTGFocus. See you next week.